Okay, Jack. Quick question for you. Have you ever been absolutely certain about something only to find out you were completely wrong?
Sophia, are you kidding? That's basically every Tuesday for me. But seriously, yes, all the time. It's like my brain has a mind of its own.
Exactly. It's not just you, it's everyone. What if I told you that your brain is, well, it's actively trying to trick you, especially when you're learning English?
Whoa, okay, that's a strong hook. I'm listening. So, welcome everyone to Enlycast English Daily Podcast. I'm Jack.
And I'm Sofia. And today we are diving deep into the sneaky little shortcuts our brains take called cognitive biases.
Cognitive biases. It sounds super scientific and complicated.
It does, but it's really not. Think of them as mental glitches. They're patterns of thinking that can lead us to make weird, illogical decisions without us even realizing it.
Mental glitches. I like that. So, our brains are like buggy software?
Pretty much. And these glitches can seriously mess with your English learning progress. They can keep you stuck, repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Today, we're exposing two of the biggest culprits.
I can't wait. But before we dive into how our brains are betraying us, could we maybe ask for a little favor?
A very small, tiny favor. You guys, if you're enjoying our chats and finding them helpful, it would mean the absolute world to us if you could take just a second to click that subscribe button.
Right, and maybe even leave a like or a comment. Seriously, every single interaction helps our little podcast reach more English learners just like you. We read every single comment, and it genuinely makes our day.
It really does. It feels like we're all in this together, you know? So thank you in advance. We appreciate you all so much.
We really, really do. Okay, apology for the interruption. Sophia, let's expose these brain glitches. What's the first one?
All right, buckle up. The first one is a biggie. It's called the status quo bias.
Status quo bias. Okay, sounds like something from a Latin textbook. What does it mean?
It just means we prefer things to stay the same. We like what's familiar. Our brains see change as risky, uncomfortable, and a lot of work. So we stick to the default option, the status quo.
Ugh, I feel this in my bones. It's like sticking with the same brand of coffee you've been drinking for 10 years, even though there might be a better one out there.
Yes, that is the perfect example. Or never changing the settings on your new phone. The default is just easier.
Okay, I see it now. So, how does this comfort zone bias affect English learners?
Oh, in so many ways. Let's start with vocabulary. Have you ever noticed that you tend to use the same words over and over again? You'll say good or nice or interesting 100 times a day.
Totally.
You probably know other words like fantastic, remarkable, fascinating, but when you're speaking, your brain just reaches for the old comfortable default word, good. That's status quo bias in action.
Right, because trying to pull out fascinating in the middle of a sentence feels risky. What if I say it wrong? What if it doesn't fit? It's easier to just say interesting.
Precisely. Your brain wants to conserve energy. It's lazy. It creates a safe little vocabulary bubble for you, and the status quo bias keeps you trapped inside it.
That makes so much sense. And I bet it applies to grammar too.
Oh, 100%. This is a huge one. Think about a grammar mistake you know you make. For a lot of learners, it's something like forgetting the S for the third person singular. They'll say he go instead of he goes.
Yeah, that's a classic one.
They might have been corrected a dozen times. They can ace the grammar test, but in a real conversation, he go just slips out. It's become their default, their status quo. Changing that habit requires conscious, uncomfortable effort.
It's a fossilized error. The brain has decided this is how we say this now, and it doesn't want to change the file.
Doesn't want to change the file. I love that. That's exactly it. So the first step to beating this bias is just awareness, recognizing, okay, my brain is being lazy right now. It's trying to keep me in my comfort zone.
So you have to actively fight it. Like maybe you make a rule for yourself. Today, I'm not allowed to say the word good. I have to use a different adjective every time.
That's a fantastic strategy. It's forcing a change. It feels awkward at first, but that's how you break the pattern. You're overriding the default setting.
And for grammar, maybe you record yourself speaking and then listen back specifically for that one fossilized error. It's painful, but you have to catch your brain in the act.
Yes, you have to make the familiar unfamiliar again. It's all about creating a little bit of healthy discomfort to push your English to the next level.
Wow. Okay, status quo bias is officially my new enemy. It's so sneaky because it feels like you're just being efficient, but you're actually just stuck.
You are totally stuck. Okay, are you ready for mental glitch number 2? This one is just as sneaky.
I'm ready. Hit me with it.
This one is called the recency effect or recency bias.
Recency? As in recent?
Exactly. The recency effect is our tendency to remember the most recent information we've heard far better than the stuff that came earlier. Our short-term memory gives extra weight to the last things we encountered.
Oh, okay. This happens to me with grocery lists. If someone tells me 10 things to buy, I'll remember the last 2 or 3, but the ones in the middle, completely gone.
Yes, that's the recency effect in its purest form. Now, think about an English class. The teacher gives you a ton of great feedback. They talk about your pronunciation, your grammar, your vocabulary.
The very last thing they said.
When you walk out of that class, what do you remember most clearly? The very last thing. All that other valuable feedback from the beginning of the conversation, it gets fuzzy. Your brain prioritizes the most recent input.
That's so true. And it creates a false sense of what's important. You might think the last point was the most important when really it was just the last.
It does. And here's another way it gets you. Imagine you're studying a list of 20 new vocabulary words for a test. You study them in order, 1 through 20.
Okay, I'm with you. They're ancient history. Gone. Vanished into the ether.
You finish your study session feeling great because words 18, 19, and 20 are fresh in your mind. You feel like you know the list. But what about words 5, 6, and 7? Exactly. The recency effect gives you a false sense of confidence. You mistake recent exposure for deep learning. You think you've mastered the material because the last bits you looked at are easy to recall.
This is the story of my life in university. Cramming for an exam, feeling like a genius right after, and then nothing. The information just wasn't really in there.
It wasn't. So, how do we fight this one? It's a bit different. The key is to break the timeline, mix things up.
What do you mean, break the timeline?
Well, when you get feedback from a teacher, don't just walk away. Take 30 seconds to summarize the first point they made, then maybe the most important point from the middle. You're forcing your brain to retrieve information that isn't the most recent.
That's smart. And with the vocabulary list, don't just study it from 1 to 20. Jump around, study it backwards, use flashcards, and shuffle them constantly.
Yes, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. The goal is to make sure every piece of information has a chance to be recent at some point. It prevents your brain from cheating and only remembering the end of the list.
And things like spaced repetition systems like Anki or Quizlet are basically designed to fight the recency effect, right? They bring back old information right when you're about to forget it. So, with the status quo bias, we need to force ourselves into uncomfortable new territory. And with the recency effect, we need to constantly review and shuffle old information so it feels new again.
They are the ultimate weapon against it. They are systematically destroying the recency of information and forcing you into true long-term memory. But wait, there's more. We can't talk about sneaky brain glitches without mentioning the big boss of them all.
The big boss? Oh man, there's another one. I'm almost afraid to ask.
That's a perfect summary. Both biases are about our brain's desire to be efficient and lazy, but real learning, especially language learning, isn't efficient. It's messy and requires constant, deliberate effort.
My mind is kind of blown, honestly. Just knowing the names for these things makes me feel so much more powerful, like I can actually spot them happening.
You should be. This one is called confirmation bias, and it's incredibly powerful.
Which brings us to our question for you, our amazing listeners.
And that is the whole point. Awareness is the first and most important step. You can't fix a glitch if you don't know it exists.
So think about it. Are you a creature of habit? Do you find yourself stuck in a comfortable rut using the same words and making the same mistakes? That's the status quo bias.
Yes, we want to know which of these two cognitive biases you feel affects your English learning the most.
There's no wrong answer, of course. Most of us probably struggle with a bit of both.
Or are you someone who gets a false sense of confidence from studying, only remembering the last things you learned and forgetting the earlier stuff? That's the recency effect.
And while you're down there, it's another perfect opportunity to.
For sure. But we'd love for you to head down to the comments and let us know which brain glitch traps you more often, status quo or recency. We're so curious to see what you think.
Thank you all so much for listening and for being part of this community. You're awesome.
Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help us keep making these episodes for you. We'll see you in the next episode of Enlycast. Keep learning and don't let your brain trick you. Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.